We're back. Oh, so sorry, guys. We are back up. We'll see if it lasts this time. I guess the internet was intimidated by our 4-hour presentation.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
There you go. See, now everybody left.
Yeah.
Because your technology just died.
Oh, you don't know me. All right. I'll take it. It's my fault. JB's fishing. Yes. You know, it is. I still, like, as frustrated as I might get when stuff like this happens, I got to tell you, it's still amazing that I can go sit on a boat in the middle of Neely Henry and a guy in New Jersey can watch us fishing and talk with us. So I can't complain too much. Thanks for jumping back in, guys.
Look at you.
All right. Well, I did all the intro already.
You did?
So,
well, it's new. There's new people there, so you probably ought to.
So Timmy Taylor's not new.
Well,
he's
to
always
this
in here.
Session.
All right. Okay.
To this session. And, you know, I'm not Wes. I'm not Scott. I'm not anybody important. So.
Oh, you want me to tell them who you are?
Well, no. I don't care.
Hey, somebody in the comments, let us know if you know who this guy is.
If I was wearing a shirt, a purple shirt, they'd call me Barney.
So I will tell you guys, he did. Tracy showed up at the right time, and Dano, I would say, is the one that threw Tracy under the bus.
I did,
but he dropped some knowledge on some crankbaits yesterday.
That's good.
I already have talked to a few folks that said they very much appreciate it.
That's good.
Who are you?
Tracy's an absolute stick.
Yes.
He's an absolute stick, and he's a really good guy. We're fortunate to have him. Absolutely. So here's what it's Soft Plastic Day on our virtual Fish Fest. And I got to tell you, this has been kind of fun and interesting. It's been long. I know you're kind of feeling Michael's shoulders don't work anymore because of the camera holding. But it's going to happen again tomorrow with John Cox on the water.
Yes.
But we've been giving away those a breeze.
Yes. Yeah.
We've been giving away those entries into our raffle deal for Brian's Straight Up Fishing. But today we're going to throw something else at them. There's a second gift pack here.
Oh.
All
dang.
of this stuff.
Are you kidding me?
Every single thing here, it's like $120 worth of stuff. Is all going to be
pull the
given
camera
away.
down, but you're just going to have to keep watching and see.
So let's just say there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 bags of plastics. There's a 65-pound Smackdown. There's a 6-pound Red Label. There's the Wacky Tool kit from Eagle Claw. There's Pitbull cutters, Pitbull split ring pliers. There's Ned ball heads and Ned bombs from Missile Baits. There's all these hooks that are going to be given away and some Bucks Island tungsten. So I get to choose who I want to give it to.
Ooh.
I'm gonna actually let Michael do it.
So we're gonna pull two. We're gonna pick two on this one.
No, I'm giving one pack away.
Right.
You're gonna give the five entries into the raffle, but then this is gonna be a separate deal.
Okay, so we're gonna pick two people then on this live.
And
so we need
Timmy
comments.
Taylor, look at that. So Timmy just opened up what we're gonna do. We're gonna start with drop shotting. It's Soft Plastics Day. I'm going to show you guys beginning rigging, basically. So that's what I'm going to start with. So obviously, drop shotting finesse hook is a deal. This is a new company out called Spear Point. We've got all sizes in both shapes that they got. There's more coming, I happen to know. But this is a wide gap version. This is the GP Finesse. And what it has on here, it's kind of unique. It's good for the rigging, and it's also good for the fish landing. Is they got what they call the V grip, and I'm gonna have to put this right into the camera here. It's a V grip, if you can see it. If you can see that, let's see, I need something dark to put against there. Okay.
You mean?
Or maybe I need light.
You have to make sure you cover up your face. These modern technology things.
Maybe if you can see this. If you see that, the angle on that hook, it's got that little V grip in it. That's to keep fish pinned, but it also aids in rigging. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you. This is a 6-pound Seaguar Red Label. I tend to use 6-pound line when I'm drop shotting. I know you can get away with heavier, but I also, while fish visibility is a thing, I also believe that pressure in the water plays a role too. So I tend to go light on the line, and I tend to use 6. I back reel. I don't use my drags most of the time for a reason. So I start and go through the top of the line tie here. If you go through the bottom, you have a tendency to twist the. If you go through the bottom, you'll have a tendency to twist the hook and maybe put it in. When it comes to rigging, you'll be upside down, and that's not a good thing. So I always go through the top of the line tie. I tie a Palomar knot, and I don't pinch the line because I think it'll kink the line, and it weakens it. So you can adjust the drop shot leader by where the fish are holding. Let's assume that they're kind of tight to the bottom right now. So we're gonna do this. So I want to make sure that I don't cross the lines, and then I do my overhand knot like this, and I pull that. Well, I guess you got to finish the overhand knot. But here's the overhand knot like so. You drop this into here. You pick the overhand knot. Now most people make a mistake right here when they're tying a Palomar is they start to snug right after they do this. I'm going to show you a little trick. You can see where that loop is right here that I drop the bait through. If you do this and you make it flop over loose, you'll never burn your line. So then I wet it and I pull it snug. Now I take the leader and I drop it back through the eye of the hook like this. And if this was main line to the rod, and there's the leader material. Sorry for the noise. And then here we've got our Bucks Island tungsten drop shot weights, and you want to go as light as you possibly can get away with on this. So this one, it happens to be, this is a 1/4 ounce. This, I'd probably use this in 20-25 feet of water, or if I was in heavier current. But I bit this down just to make it display purposes. But one thing I like to do is when I'm using this stuff is I like to tie a little overhand knot in here. I'm not going to do it now because I cut the line too short, but I tie a little overhand knot right here and I rest this snap on here. So you put this through and you pull it snug onto the line, and that would be the actual drop shot rig right here. Now I've got a robo worm out here. Here it is, the 4.5 inch fat robo worm. This is a great little finesse drop shot worm made in Southern California. Now I put the flat side down on a hand pour. You can do this with any other worm, you know, Zoom, anything, Strike King, anything. But what I like to do is I like to go pinch right through the middle and pop right here. Now that worm is going to, in the water, is going to stick straight out like this. It's going to float here. If you're concerned about keeping your plastics for a long time, you can also rig your worm like this, and it'll penetrate through when the fish bites. But you tend more of a, if you don't get it right in the center, you can lose more baits this way. But I tend to just nose hook, open hook. Now you can do these Texas rig too with a robo rebarb type hook with the molded keeper on there. But this is your standard typical open hook drop shot rig right there.
And Ricky asked, what's your preferred depth for fishing the drop shot?
I have thrown a drop shot rig in inches, I've thrown it into deepest fish I've ever caught was at Shasta Lake and 123 feet of water. That was on a spoon, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, truthfully. You can do any of that kind of stuff.
It's more about just a technique, less about the location.
And this is just rigging. I'm just showing rigging right here. So,
yeah, guys, we're probably not. He's seriously got a ton of stuff. So we may not go into deep detail on some of these, but certainly keep the questions coming.
Yeah. And I'll stop and answer whatever questions. But honestly, drop shot, most people think of it as only a vertical presentation. It works really well casting as well. So it's a very, very, very effective technique. And bites on it can be anywhere from a big thump to feeling like you got someone's, you're stretching a rubber band between your fingertips.
Yeah, Timmy Taylor's concerned about the 6-pound instead of 20-pound fluoro. So
I don't, Timmy, I don't set the hook. I reel set. That's why I use a bigger spool reel, because when I've got the fish hooked up and I get the pressure, then all I do is hold the rod steady and I start turning the reel handle fast, and it takes all the stretch out of the line and then just pulls the hook into their mouth as opposed to setting the hook. And drop shotting, I'll use 7 foot, medium to medium light. If I'm vertically fishing, I'll use medium if I'm casting it. There's the drop shot with the robo worm. Okay, got that one out. All right. So now I'll go more power right here. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to organize this. And we're going to go to another good finesse rig right here. This is the Alabama Special. We're going to go to a shaky head. This happens to be the Davis Elite shaky head. I do not like the shaky heads with the spring. They block fish from getting hooked up.
Okay.
I've lost too many of them this way, so I prefer to Texas rig. So if you have a spring right here on your shaky head, it sticks out this way. When a fish goes to bite down, you've got this much room in the hook gap taken up by a spring. Fish tries to go across this when you're pulling at the mouth, tries to go across and get this, and you block about a quarter of the hookup ratio. So I prefer this style with the barb on it. So again, this is a net bait T-Mac watermelon candy color, a Davis Elite. This is the one I tend to use most. This worm also has a flat side on it. You can do this with a Zoom trick worm or any other company baits. I go in the head like this of the worm at a slight angle, and I pull it out right at the bend. If you can see where I pulled that thing out right here at where the hook bends, I bring it up and I turn it sideways so that when I pull this through, I'm not pulling it out on the flat. I'm not pulling the barb out on the flat side because that cores it out. So then I take this and I turn it around so that the barb sticks out right against the worm. And then I take this and I measure where it's coming out, like about there. I lift, and then I insert the hook point into the worm, and I rest it right here, make a little channel in it, and then that's what the shaky worm ends up looking like here. And this sits on the bottom when the fish bites. This penetrates and pulls in through here, but this helps to keep the worm from sliding down. If this hook slides down, or if this worm's head slides down, you'll miss more fish than you'll catch. That's why you got to keep it rested against this barb. That's the shaky head right there. That is the shaky head with a net bait T-Mac and a Davis Elite STD shaky head. Yep, Elite STD. Got a Gamakatsu Sprout style hook in it too. Okay, let's go with wacky rigging here real quick.
All right.
So you can do this with a finesse worm. Most people like a stick bait. This is a Yamamoto Senko. That's what it started with. Color, you know, choose what you like there. I'm going to show you on this KVD Strike King Ocho. So we've got the wacky tools that we sell up in the store, and what this is these are the rubber bands. You insert the worm. Now I'm going to there's two ways to do this. I'm going to show you the wacky rig first, and then I'm going to show you it's a Nico rig. It's out west. It's called a deck rig, DEK, because of the guy that made it popular, or an Is rig because that was a guy named Is Bird that did it out there. Is rig was more of a finesse worm, but it's kind of developed into this. So you've got the O-ring that can slide up on here. You put the worm in halfway. This is just a straight up wacky rig, and you want this to be kind of right in the middle of the worm. And you can see that now this is, you would throw weightless. Again, you'd use one of these GP finesse type hooks, the finesse ones, and you can rig this one crossways. It doesn't matter which way this goes. I'll pull one out because I got to show you anyway. So the key thing here is you can do this with a big hook with heavy line. You can do this with light line, and obviously you got to adjust the hooks. You can go wacky straight through like this on a weightless rig, this is a straight wacky rig right here, and you wouldn't necessarily need that ring on here. But if you're going to do the Nico style rig, you want the rubber band to be closer towards the front of the bait. And then this is key right here, is because you're going to use a nail weight, and I'll show you how to insert that in a second. That worm is going to sit like this. If you run the hook through this way, you're going to miss the fish that bite. So when you're Nico rigging, you put the hook in this way so that it faces the back, so that when you pull the worm and it falls back down, the hook point is facing the fish's face. Okay. So that's the way you want to do it. And then this is typically used as a weighted rig. So here we've got a Bucks Island tungsten nail weight that we have on the pegs up here. And what you do is you go right in the center of the short side, the head of the worm, and you go straight center, and you push that in till it goes in the center all the way through the nose of the worm. And then if you want to protect it, you can put a drop of super glue. What I tend to do is I tend to just push it in and let the plastic slide over the top of it. And that will keep it in the center. And when that thing is on the bottom, you can hop it and it'll fall down. When it falls, it'll spiral a little bit, but you get weight, and then this tail stands up a little bit and you can shake it. When the fish bites, it bites on that. So that's a Nico rig, a deck rig, or one of those kinds of things with the nail weight. And you can do that with finesse worms, the Ocho, the Senko, any of those kinds of deals. That one's a great. Better to use the O-ring on wacky rigs.
Which one are you looking at?
From Timmy Taylor, down on the bottom. Joe, you're right. Super glue will hold that in there. That's always another great way to go there. But I try to be fast as I can.
We're having freeze up issues again.
Oh, there we are. We're back.
All right.
Sorry,
guys.
So we're looking at.
Let's go through. Josh,
a Snell rig. Yes, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna talk how to Snell rig I'll do it right now since you brought it up. Snell rig, Snell braided line. Are you talking a saltwater Snell rig? Because no, I'm not gonna go over that. I don't know what to do on that one. I bass fish. But as far as snelling a knot, yes, I can show how I snell a knot. Two different ways to go about flipping. I tend to like a smaller regular flipping style hook like this with fluorocarbon line. If I'm going to go braid, then I'm going to go with a monster flip. I'll be honest with you. Flipping Snell rig. Okay. If it's braided line, I go with a heavier one. I tend to try to stay on a smaller bait a smallie beaver, a baby D-bomb, or one of those 3/0 hooks, and I tend not to go over 4/0 hooks even on the big bait unless I'm getting into a double wide beaver, and then I'll go up into the 6/0 hooks. So because I got braid, I'm going to go. Actually, we got to run these opens guys took a bunch of our hooks, so we have to reorder. So I'm gonna show you a 5/0 hook here with a Sweet Beaver 442 sprayed grass color. It's one of the first punch baits. Really, I mean, it's the original beaver style bait. There's others that copied it or reproduced it or came up with their own versions of it, but the beaver's the original. So we're gonna stay with that.
Josh isn't probably a very big fan of Reaction Innovation.
No, he's a massive hater of Reaction Innovation.
Probably.
Maybe just his boss. But so for a punching rig, first thing first, very important is if you're going to be penetrating heavy cover, you got to have a bobber stop on here. We've got thousands of them up here that we got. This is not actual punching weights; it's a flipping weight, but it was easier to display. So these things work pretty cool. You drop the line through the loop, and you just slide this thing up onto the line, and push that up the weight a little bit. Then you get a flipping weight. And I want to show you these things here. There's flipping weights and there's worm weights, and I want to show you the difference. The flipping weight is built for creature baits, larger diameter baits. A worm weight is slender for a worm, and I'll show you that when I do a big worm. The reason that you go with a flipping weight is because it matches the head of the baits a little bit better, so it's more streamlined. So if you're wondering when to use which one, that's what you do. So obviously, slide this on here. And because I'm right-handed, I tend to kind of set the rod on my left-hand side when I'm rigging. So I'm going to do the same thing here. Okay, here's a snell knot. So you've got this keeper here, and you got braided line. So
I'll hold this up if anybody's
65-pound stealth or smackdown with the stealth gray is what I was trying to refer to. Okay, so I pull out about that much line. Here, I pinch and make a loop, all right? You go down through the eye. Now I do this 5-6 times. These are welded eyes, so they help to keep the knot from sliding back through, like so. And I just boogered it up. There we go. But I do 5 or 6 loops around the shank of the hook, like so. And then I take the tag end and I stick it through the loop down here. And then I pull to snug the whole thing up. And you got to snug everything down to get it to seat, like so. And you got your snell knot around the shank of the hook, like so. Now we've got our pit bull cutters.
What's the advantage of that knot over?
I'm going to show you.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to show you.
I'm jumping the gun. Sorry, guys.
And don't worry about...
I'm anxious for knowledge, Dana.
I know. I got you. Don't worry about cutting these things off super, super small or short. Man, when you're punching, you're going to be in heavy cover, and they won't even see this. It'll look like the roots of the weeds a lot of times. So here we've got our beaver. You can split the tails. You can leave it, together, whatever you want to do. This gives you kind of when it's together, it gives you more of a bluegill profile. When it's apart, it gives you more of a crawdad. This is sprayed grass, which is a great bluegill color. Green with a little bit of blue flake on top, and then a purple with purple flake and black flake on the bottom. So rigging a straight shank hook, don't go in straight. Go at an angle to the bend. And then it's coming out the bottom of the thing, and you've got that groove in the middle of the beaver body. and you want to put that in. And then here's a little trick I learned a while back. Because you're using this keeper, you don't want the whole head of that thing to get soft and hollowed out. So you pull this in sideways. It puts the core to the thicker side of the body. You bring it all the way through like this, and you turn the keeper around and you push it up against the plastic. And then you lift again and stick that in the body of the bait. Now you're using braided line. You don't even have to pull that thing out. Okay, now here's where the snell knot comes into play. Because the line is going through the top, when this is in the fish's mouth and you set the hook, that weight is going to hit and it's going to cantilever the bait.
Gotcha.
So you're driving the hook point up and into the fish's face. So it cantilevers on a hook set. That's why you use the snell knot.
Okay.
That is precisely why you use the snell knot.
All right.
But that's a flipping punching rig with the spicy or the sweet beaver on there. And that's just a good all-around size, 4.2. You can catch fish, big ones, anywhere you go. The guys down there in Alabaster make that thing. It's a great bait.
All right. We got a follow-up drop shot. I know Andy's going fishing this weekend. I think post-frontal conditions like what we've got coming up here, following this, I guess by the time it hits this tropical storm, will the drop shot be effective?
Depending on the water
this weekend.
But depending on the water clarity, Andy. If the water's still fairly clear, yes, but you're dealing with a finesse presentation, and that will make it a little bit more difficult if the water's dirty. What you could do with the drop shot then is go to a little bit more of a creature bait style. Still do the drop shotting, but have a little bit more action in the bait. But then it's a double-edged sword because you got fish that are grumpy, and they're really not likely to eat as easily, and you're throwing something with a bunch of moving tentacles on them.
Gotcha.
But yes, it will work if it's not super, super dirty.
Timmy Taylor's Googling what cantilever means. Josh, yes.
What did he
Always say? West Coast Delta knowledge at its finest.
It's where it started. Florida first, and then the Delta. But that beaver, the sweet beaver, was introduced in the West Coast first, as it should be. And that thing made its mark, and it is when you think of any flipping flat creature bait, it's like the Senko, it's like the gets it, it's the beaver, and it's defined the whole category.
What size hook was that?
That was a 5/0. It's a little big for that bait, but we were out of 4/0s.
Okay.
I prefer 4/0. I prefer 4/0 in there. Okay. So that's flipping and punching, and just the size of the hook, gauge of the wire, those kinds of things make a difference depending on the line size. Braided line, you got to go with a stouter hook. That's why that monster flipping hook comes in there. Okay, I'm going to show you a flipping tube.
While you're opening that up, guys, I would ask if you don't mind, hit that share button, and certainly give us some thumbs up to keep Dano going. And I know he's got quite a bit more to go through, so we'll do that. But drop us some comments and questions so we can pick a winner at the end, or two winners.
Okay, let's go to a flipping tube. This is one of those you love it or you hate it techniques. I happen to like it. Scott Smith, you got a question up there.
Yeah, what's size weight?
Honestly, the deal is to get as a light a weight as you possibly can to get it through the vegetation when you're punching. I've punched with 1/2 ounce. I've punched with ounce and a half to 2 ounces, just depending on the density of the rule of thumb is you want it to have as, light a fall as possible. 3/4 is a good all-around size. I guess if I'm punching, more common is 3/4 to 1.5 ounces. If you're getting up into 2 ounce weights, then you are you are got a chance of blowing the fish's mouth open when you set the hook. Okay, tubes.
Well, maybe this will help you out, Timmy. He said, I don't like tubes. Never gotten a single bite on one.
Really? Honestly, if I was if I was to only be able to choose one bait to flip with, which hopefully I never get to that point, I would choose a tube because it gives me a bluegill look, it gives me a shad look, and it gives me a crawdad look.
I'll check on that, John.
What?
Is this boat inside or outside?
We took it outside, waiting for the hurricane to get here, John, just so that you came nice and wet tomorrow. Okay, tubes. I don't like to peg my tube weights, and I want to have a heavy enough weight when I'm flipping a tube now to get some fall out of it when I'm flipping, but I don't like to peg. So I take, this is a 1/2 ounce weight on here right now. I take this, I just use a Palomar knot. This is the Eagle Claw. Trocar makes this too. This is the tube hook with the barb system on it. Again, through here, over this, make your loop for a Palomar.
Can you guys see that very well? I'm gonna work on getting a overhead cam or something that we can do for this kind of stuff.
Same thing here. I use a Palomar. I know there's people that say it doesn't work for a lot of things, but I happen to like it. Again, this is on braid. I'd be flipping this on fluorocarbon, but again, I don't worry about the tag end because I'm flipping it into cover and the fish aren't going to see it near as much. But I do like this hook for a tube. I've caught a lot of fish on this thing, and it pins them. I've even tried this on regular creature baits, and I like it a lot. So it's the HP style hook designed by Shaw Grigsby. This, and he had that keeper on it in the past, but they made it a barb version. Come in at an angle again. This is a KVD. Well, it's just a Strike King flipping tube, probably the Denny Brower flipping tube. So it's got a solid head on it. So you come out inside that come right into where that bend is, pull the thing straight out, turn the barb sideways, pin it here, measure this hook where it's going to be, and I go straight 90-degree across the body of that thing. And then I just kind of lift, push the plastic forward and slide it right into here. And then here's why I like to not have the weight, and that's your flipping tube set up right there with that hook. And what I like is when I'm flipping the tube, the weight falls, boom, and then this falls after it, kind of spirals down, because that's what tubes are best at. So this is a real good finesse flipping presentation, but you will get some giant bites on this thing. And that's the flipping tube. Again, I'll tend to go 3/8, 1/2 ounce on the deal. I'm just tying a knot in that so that it all stays in one piece. But that's the flipping tube. Obviously, you want to try to rig it as straight as possible. Reaction Innovations made one. I think they still do. It's called the Boom Boom tube. It's giant, thick tube. That's a great tube.
So that's considered a finesse technique?
Finesse flipping.
Oh, finesse flipping. Okay.
This, like I said, if there was only one bait I could take flipping, it would be a tube.
All right.
Because I have bluegill appearance. I could change the color, go shad, or sitting on the bottom, it can mimic a crawdad, and it'll get any bite that I want.
Would you ever dip that?
Oh yeah, especially for spotted bass. Largemouth, I tend not to dip unless it's in the springtime and I'm looking for largemouth that are guarding nests and stuff like that, and then I might put the bluegill on there. So yeah, somebody asked something about.
Yeah, let's go through.
So creature bait. This is the D-bomb. It's the closest one to me. So this is a creature bait. Again, the Reaction Innovation Sweet Beaver was the first of its kind. This one's really good. They both have different densities of plastics, But this is a tube, and that's a creature bait. Again, this is a beaver style creature bait. If you have one that has the curled legs on it, like the man bear pig, the brush hog, the game hog, those kinds of things, those are creature baits as well. But this is a beaver styled creature bait, and then you have the curly tail styles as well.
All right, Joe, tubes are awesome in the old Carolina rig.
Yeah, so are creature baits, especially like the man bear pig and some of those deals. Is pretty darn good on a Carolina rig. Okay.
Well, 59 Big Walt, best place for fall crappie fishing in Alabama. We actually sat down Monday
Weiss Lake
with Lee Pitts, talking a whole bunch about crappie. Weiss Lake is definitely the deal, but Lee's a guide here, Weiss and Neely. I know he was getting out Tuesday, taking some customers out crappie fishing. So
let's show you a Texas rig Senko real quick. Stick bait.
What determines?
Not that John Cox, David.
I haven't gotten that far yet.
Josh has a really cool tip that he's right. I need to show you this. You can do this on a tube to make your hookup ratio a little bit better.
Is this the cutting?
Yes. He brought that up, and I just saw that, so I'm gonna address that. Yes, you can, and this is actually a really cool deal. You look at where your hook point's going in, and you take a pair of scissors. These happen to be our pit bull cutters, and you cut down the whole underside of this thing to a point, and you see you've got a split there. You can increase hookup ratio with this by getting one piece of the plastic out of the way. So that gives you, it compresses a little bit easier. If you start finding that you're missing bites on the tube, that's one thing you can do to improve that. That is a good point, Josh.
All right. So with boats, wasn't expecting this to start jumping in here. If you are concerned about your boat, I would call service right now and see what we can do. Because I know we do not have room to bring all the service boats in under roof.
Okay, here's a 5-inch Yamamoto Senko. This is the stick bait. Started the whole thing. Said it was started by taking a mold of a Bic pen for the prototypes. It's heavy salt. It shakes when it falls, and it shimmies. Other baits in this category are the Ocho, the Pocket Rocket from Reaction Innovations, Yum Dingers. There's a bunch of them. This is just for a Texas rig Senko. Again, this is the spear point hook. This is the wide gap version. Just go in the nose on this, bring it to the bend, push it through, turn it in sideways like so, measure where it's going to sit in there, lift it up at 90 degrees, and then texpose the thing. And make sure it's straight. And that's your Senko. I need to pull it down just a little bit here. I'm looking at it. I went in a little too far back. But the big deal on these is to keep it straight so that you're in line with where you enter so that it's not twisted. But this thing will fall like this and it'll shimmy back and forth. And I don't know, bass must eat a bunch of twigs that fall out of the sky because they eat these things. But that's one of the deals right there.
All right.
That's another setup. Let's go here to a Ned rig. This is the Ned ball from Missile Baits. It's designed with a collar. Timmy, I see you've got never fished a Senko Texas rigged. That's how they first started being fished. They are unbelievable around cover post spawn in the summertime. I have watched Clear Lake Magombos eat those things. Big ones. Not one of my favorite ways to fish. It's slow. You pitch a weightless worm out, let it fall to the bottom, maybe pop it once or twice, then reel it back in and do the same thing. But if you pitch it up like here at Neely Henry with all the wood that's out there, you know, the trees that are off the bank, that are sticking out off the bank, all the brush, if you pitch it up in there, 15, 17-pound line, you'll catch them. Just let it fall. Don't touch it. When your line starts to swim away, set the hook. That's the best thing to do.
So Timmy brings up a good, for me as a new guy trying to learn stuff, all these different techniques, different styles can be overwhelming. Do you recommend guys try them all or try a couple at a time and get good at doing them a little bit at a time?
Learn one at a time so that you're proficient with it. Maybe efficient with it is the best way to say it. The overall, if I was to only have a couple of them, I'd have a drop shot, a shaky head, a Texas rig, and a flipping rig. If I was to only do that, that's what I'd do. But there's so many different ways, and I brought some of this stuff out to show you can flip with. You know, this is a rage craw. This is a great flipping bait. You know, one day they may want to eat, you know, a beaver. They may want to eat a tube. They may want the flapping action of a craw. So those kinds of deals, you know, a Texas rig or a flipping rig will apply to all of this. It just depends on what the fish are eating. So
right.
I brought all that stuff out to show the differences. Okay, Ned rig. This is another do nothing rig. You've got the Ned bomb here with the Ned ball jig head. This collar is real unique in that it's a cone. We're frozen again.
We are. Come on. Sorry, guys. We're having more technical difficulties today than normal.
It's got to be the weather.
Hold on. Hey, I got to swap cameras around here, guys. Sorry. Are you going to do this to me again? Well, this is not fun. Sorry, guys. Hey guys, if you're still hanging out with us, normally the tech guy gets to sweat not in front of the camera. I am trying to get this this camera back up and running, so
I've
I
only
do
got 2 more to
apologize.
show.
You got 2 more?
Yeah, we could just leave it on here for now and we could just show it.
All right.
Not quite as good, but we'll just do it that way.
There.
Okay. Let's go back
I'm
to.
gonna slide out of the way and give you.
You're fine.
But you're still using that mic, so you
Yes.
should have good audio, guys. I do apologize. We won't charge you for this one.
Yes, Joe, a Texas rig with a weight Senko is actually pretty darn good. Okay, Ned rig. Here's a Ned bomb and the Ned ball head with the cone here, and it's got, you know, a sickle style hook in it. That's really good for holding fish as well. Now this is rig it, you know, straight. So when you go to put this thing together, you kind of want to see where it's going to come out in the head. I tend to like the flat tail down. Go right in the middle of the head here and bring it all the way through. And I'm going to purposefully do something and show you how to adjust it. So here, well, nailed it. If you happen to go too far into the hook, into the bait, and the hook is up here, put your fingers over this and just kind of tear it down a little bit. But this is your Ned ball, Ned worm, Ned rig setup right here. 6-pound line, 8-pound line, just kind of drag it along the bottom and just let it sit there. Drag it along, and when they set the hook, you know, when they bite, you just set the hook. So that's the Ned rig there with El Misilo, Ned bomb and Ned ball. Okay, now this one's gonna show a lot of people. I'm gonna be honest with you on stuff like this. I do not like a wide gap hook. I have lost too many fish on a wide gap hook, and I'll show you what I mean. On a Texas rig worm. So here I've got a Zoom Old Monster. We still switching?
Sorry, I was hopeful.
Here we've got a 10-inch, 10.5-inch Zoom Old Monster right here. I'm going to bring out the line again. I don't peg these. I Texas rig. Again, I'm using the worm weight because it matches the head of the worm, where the flipping weight matches the head of a creature bait. I'll show you why I don't like wide gaps on a Texas rig. There's some baits you have to absolutely use them. I get it. But on a worm like this, I don't like it. What I like is an offset shank round bend, and I use an offset shank round bend on my flukes too. Most people like you have a Dano's Guide to Hook Tying. I use an offset shank round bend. This is a Gamakatsu offset shank worm round bend right here on a 10-inch worm. I'm going to go ahead and rig this. First, I tie my Palomar knot again. I've already stuck the slid the weight up there on there. Tie my Palomar. Again, I'd have this on 17-pound, 15 to 17-pound Invisex or a Brazex. Jeez, it's got a mind of its own today. And I don't know if I've showed this to you guys, but this is the best braided line cutters on the market. These are the pit bulls. We have them here. You don't even have to hold it tight. It just cuts it clean. Super clean. These are brilliant. Okay. This has a flat side on it as well. If you can see the ribs on this side, and then you can see this flat side here. That's the side I use as the bottom. I put it in here to the bend, and I turn the worm in there, slide it out and turn the Z-bend so that it locks it into place like this, offset. And then I measure where the worm is going to go like this. And I stick it right in front of the egg sac. And then I text pose it. And then if you can look here at how that worm matches up with the head, the weight matches up with the head of the worm, it gives it a streamlined appearance. That's what is best. Now, here's why I don't like wide gaps. You see there's plenty of gap on here to get the fish to penetrate the worm. If I put a wide gap on here, here's what happens. Fish bites down, the wide gap turns the hook sideways, and I set the hook and I come out with teeth marks on the bottom of the worm like this because I have folded the hook over in a wide gap. So most people, they see a 10-inch worm and think, wow, that's a big worm. I need a big hook on it. No, you need a long hook on it. You don't need a big gap because when the fish bites down on it, it'll turn it sideways. You set the hook and you slide that hook out of the fish's mouth. You've got teeth marks from the bottom of the fish's jaw underneath the hook shank, and you wonder how that happened. That's exactly how that happened. So I do not like using a wide gap hook on a Texas rig worm. So I guess that's kind of about it. That's just about I mean, I could go into Carolina rigs and such like that, but I don't need to go through that right now. Although that's a very effective technique. But I think I've given you quite a bit there, haven't I?
I hope so. Man, I appreciate you guys hanging in with the technical difficulties. That's definitely on me. And we are going to take a look at possibly getting some sort of overhead cam rigged up for this kind of stuff that I think would be helpful.
Yeah.
But again, we won't charge you today.
Did we ever?
Well, hey, Facebook is now opened up a feature that lets you charge for. Don't worry, guys. We're not doing that.
Do they censor what you put out when
no.
they're charging you?
Oh, we're not getting into all that. All right, guys. Well,
okay, let's see.
We gotta pick some winners.
I want to do something here real quick. I'm gonna put all this stuff in here real quick. Why don't we do?
I'm gonna thumb through the comments and questions here real quick. Yeah, Dano's guide to hook tying. Well, so the video will be on Facebook and over on YouTube. So
as choppy as it is,
you can always refer back, and we'll probably do some more of this.
Caught it.
Oh, one thing about the Ned rig that I saw that I thought was an interesting. So Andy Hughes is talking about Ned rig looking kind of like goose poop dropping down. So I don't know. Maybe he's onto something there.
Spent too much time in ICU.
Could be too much time in ICU. I don't think that's. All right. How much are the bull cutters? Sorry, guys. I don't know off the top of my head. I'd tell you, go look on Bucks Island, or if he gets back here with the. How much are the pit bull cutters?
$12.99.
$12.99. $13.99.
$12.99.
All right. 10% off this week, though.
Yes.
So
I know how I'm going to give this away.
Okay.
Let's do the other one first.
Okay. I need.
Yeah, we're glad you're out here asking questions again, Andy.
Let's say, pick a number 1 through 10.
4.
4. Okay. You tell me when to stop scrolling.
Have Misty tell you when to stop scrolling.
All right. Hey, Misty.
Misty, come over here and do that in front of the camera.
Tell me when to stop scrolling.
Stop.
All right. Let's go up. 1, 2, 3.
He doesn't count.
He doesn't count. Sorry, we were sorry, Tracy. We can't pick him. Scott Smith, you were getting five extra entries into the raffle that we're doing on Monday.
Mary, pick a number between 1 and 20.
17.
Okay, 17.
17.
Okay,
Is that
that's for this one.
okay? 17.
Oh wait. Yeah.
Okay.
No, we're gonna. I forgot. We're gonna do a contest for this one.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay.
Okay.
Somebody tell me what they think this bag weighs. The closest one within the next 1 minute,
Ooh.
without going over.
Mm.
When I say go,
I'm gonna give him a good look.
okay. When I say go, the closest one to that without going over. Go.
All right, guys. Somebody's out there going, okay, so he put a 3/8 ounce. He put a, how many come in a pack? All right, I'm seeing 4.5 pounds, 2 pounds, 5 pounds, 4 ounces, 7 pounds, 2 pounds, 8.03.
30 seconds.
How technical are we if they don't put the pounds on there?
I'm not.
So don't waste your time spelling LBS. 3 pounds, 8 pounds, 6.4, 5 pounds. Scott Smith, you did win tickets. Tell us how much the bag weighs, and you could win some tackle as well.
5 seconds.
5.5. Tracy Robinson.
Okay, that's it. Shane Robinette, you hit it dead on the nose. It was 7 pounds worth of tackle.
Shane. Dude.
7
his
pounds. I weighed that
Third
in
time winning with Virtual Fish Fest. That is awesome. Maybe he'll buy another boat from us.
7 pounds of booty. That's what it was. 7 pounds. I mean, that thing. That's like a small one in the bag of Tracy Robinson when he fishes Gunnersville. He's hoping to cull it out.
All right, guys.
So how do we get?
We'll grab Shane's. We just delivered a boat to him, so we probably got his address floating around somewhere.
Okay,
He's
Shane. Where do you live?
He's over in Georgia,
That's what I thought.
fishing doing aluminum boat tournaments over there.
Nice.
Now he's got that Avid 20 XB. All right.
Riding in style.
So, guys, Softbait is the discount code on the website. I know I've seen a couple of your faces today shopping some tackle. We really appreciate it. This has been fun.
He's in Tuscumbia.
All right. Oh, okay.
He's up there where they recorded Sweet Home Alabama.
All right. We are going to be out on the water tomorrow with the one and only.
No, he's not the one and only.
Well, he's the one and only in the National Professional Fishing League.
Yeah, there you go.
Which is still a mouthful. I got to figure that one out. But we'll be out with Mr. John Cox, fishing Neely. Looks like the weather, so we are going to slide. Instead of doing 9 to 11, we'll probably be doing 10 to 12. But most of you probably just wait for your phone to notify you.
Timmy Taylor, open your brain. You'll catch more fish.
All right.
Go ahead, show it.
What? Oh, you
Show
want
it.
All right, guys. Oh,
He
man.
probably doesn't even own a spinning rod.
Well, Tracy doesn't either.
Yeah, I know. We found that out. Tracy, you bad boy, you.
All right.
Tracy, your boat got ordered with nothing but spinning rod holders in it now.
Well, you got somebody going out there. What's a spinning rod holder look like? It's different than a.
You can have a spinning rod, or you can have a spin cast reel in your boat this year. That's it. That's all you're allowed, and nothing longer than a 6-foot rod.
Nice. All right, guys, we're gonna get out of here.
Lisa. Tracy's wife. Lisa's going, please don't tell him that. He'll never win any more money.
Or he won't spend any more money on rods. Oh.
Lisa, we got to get him set up. You know, the boy needs to get good.
All right. We're out of here. I'm gonna sign off, or I feel like we're gonna get in trouble.